Hi, Saijit Kaur is going to teach you economics today. Today we'll be studying about a very important topic of consumer theory, that is theory of demand. In this situation of pandemic, right, how many of you may wish to go on an adventure trip? I think many of you in your mind, but still you fear to go. And how many of you want to have an adventure trip? And how many of you actually demand for it? Do you think that what happened to mom? She is using same sentence again and again. And what she actually wants to ask from us. Here, I want to clear you on the three words, that is desire, want and demand. All three words are not same if I am talking about economics. These three words are different. Right? In order to understand about the word demand, you need to understand about three things. First, that you should have a mere desire to fulfill anything. Then, you should have your purchasing, ability. Arey note chahiye, right? And plus, you should have your willingness to pay for it. Dildar bhi hona padta hai. So, three things are important to study about the topic demand and to understand about the word demand, right? That is desire, ability to pay, and third is willingness to pay. So all my future economists, right, we'll start with today's topic, that is theory of demand. For this, I will be calling you consumers, not students, because you have a demand for this class. You all have demanded for today's demand class, right? So let's begin. Students, you understood about the topic demand. So let's have a definition for the topic demand. It's a desire of a customer to buy a product or a service and ability to pay for that product or for service, plus the willingness to purchase that good or service. So demand implies these three terms, right? Further, to understand about what are the factors that actually affect demand. So let's do that now. Factors determining demand. So how many of you were ordered something from Myntra? Few days back, I was receiving the notifications on my phone regarding the discounts that were being offered on the Myntra site. So, discounts. We all have that number 9 in our mind. When we go to the market, we if something is like 999, we definitely buy it because we think that the price is less. Right? So every time, whenever there is a less price, we always demand for more. So whenever price is low, you demand for more. So we understand this thing with our mind. Let's say P and Q in your mind. P, when the prices rises up, your demand definitely comes down. Right? This is what we buy the things like in this manner. So price, discounts, all these things you need to keep in your mind when you demand for something. It's always a taste and preference for every consumer, right? Suppose you think from your point of view, right? You always, let's say earlier there was a trend for scooters. Now there's a trend for scooty. So everybody, would like to have scooty in their homes. So ultimately, whenever there is a taste, whenever there is a preference, people go and demand it for the same thing. Right, so preference and taste means the fashion, right? Whatever fashion comes in the market, right? People go and demand for it. So until and unless whether it's price, so it has a direct relation kind of. That if there will be a preference for a particular good A, so there will be a particular good A demand in the market. So next we have the topic income. Now I know that in future my income is going to rise. So definitely I would buy few things in future which I have not bought it right now. So ultimately, income and quantity demanded both are having the direct relationship. My income goes up, I'll definitely consume more. My income goes down, I'll definitely reduce my consumption. Right? So if I'm saying consumption means I will reduce my demand. I will not demand for more goods. I will demand for less number of goods. We are going to study about the 4 determinant of demand, that is price of related goods. It's very important to understand about related goods. What are related goods? The examples are substitute goods and complementary goods. Complementary goods are those goods which we use together. Let's take an example. Let's take an example of a pen, right? There is more example, let's say about car and petroleum, right? Your right shoe and left shoe. So all these are examples of complementary goods. When the price of one good will increase, the quantity demanded for the other will decrease. What I'm saying, let's say the price of petrol goes up, then there will be a less demand for the cars. So this is what we understand, that complementary goods are those goods which we use together. Now, if we are talking about substitute goods are those goods which we have to replace for each other. Let's take an example of tea and coffee, right? So, if the price of the teas goes up, right, then people will switch their demands towards coffee. Then there will be an increase in the demand for the coffee. Earlier, let's say the price of tea and coffee is 10 rupees. So 50% of consumers are buying tea and 50% of consumers are buying coffee. But now the prices of teas goes up. So people now shift to their demand towards coffee. So when the prices of teas goes up, then there will be more demand for the coffee. So the substitute goods means the goods that you can replace for each other. Right. After that, we need to understand about some additional factors which determine demand. The factors like future price. If I know that yes, there will be an increase in the future price, then I will definitely buy that thing today now only. So then it means that my future demands also determines the demand. Then future income. If I know that I will be receiving a bonus in the next 3 months, so definitely I will buy something, or I will consume something after 3 months when I receive my bonus. So whenever you have some extra income with you, or you have an increase in your income, you will definitely increase your demand. There are certain and more additional factors. Let's say population. Now talking about, let's say when you were living alone, there was less demand, but now you are in a society where more buildings are there. When there are more buildings, that means population is high. And when the population is high, then definitely there is more demand, right? After that, you need to understand about the composition. Composition means that what category of people are living there. The majorly old people are there, or elder people are there, or let's say younger people are there. So if a society in which children are living, so that means there is a demand for toys, there is a demand for bright color clothes, there is a demand for crutch. If in a society more old people are living, that means there is a demand for health services, right? So ultimately we need to think of these certain factors while determining demand. So these factors are there, right, which actually affect demand. Now we have reached to our main topic, that is law of demand. Law of demand actually states that when the prices will go up, right, then there will be a decrease in demand. Here ceteris paribus implies. What is ceteris paribus? It means that other things remain constant, only price changes, then only the demand will change. Now let's take an example. If let's say the price of a commodity is 1, then you buy 8 units of it. If the price is 1, you buy 8 units of it. Right? If the price is 2, then you reduce your consumption and then you buy only 7 units of that thing. So that means, what do you understand? Now you think that when the prices are getting high, then there is a decrease in demand. It's very clear. When when somebody offers you 50 rupees for one particular good A, you buy one thing. If that person will say to you that you buy 2 for 80 rupees, you will definitely buy it. So when the prices will increase, then there will be a decrease in the demand. You should understand this thing, and that is what law of demand. Now from here also, the graph is coming down. It's an inverse relationship. Here we have price on the y-axis. On the x-axis we have here quantity demanded. So when the prices are high, you have less quantity. When the prices are low, you buy for more. So ultimately the law of demand says there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. And that's why the demand curve slopes down. So, after understanding about the important topic of law of demand,
We need to understand one thing. In the law of demand, I have used one word, that is ceteris paribus. Right? So ceteris paribus is actually meaning that you need to keep other things constant. So every other thing that affects quantity demanded remain constant, and only price varies. So if there is an increase in the price, then the quantity demanded will be less. If there will be a decrease in the price, then there will be less quantity demand. Then there will be increase in the quantity demanded. So ultimately, that is what ceteris paribus, keeping all other things constant, only there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So with this, we have certain assumptions in economics, because economics is hypothetical, right? Then here, with this law of demand, if it holds true, then there will be no change in taste and preference. There will be no change in the income of the consumer. Price of related goods remain same. There will be no change in the complementary goods. There will be no change in habit, quality of goods, anything, etc. Only the price varies. So now what is demand schedule? See, if you also have your timetable with you, I also have my timetable with me. So if we, make a tabular form where we have entered certain numerals there, then we call it as a schedule, right? So here in demand schedule, we have in one column the prices, different prices. Then in the other column, we have different quantity demanded. So if I am making demand schedule for my own demand, so it's an individual demand. If I am making for you and for the other people, then it's a market demand, right? So here in this tabular form, you can easily see the price in the first column, and then you see the in the second column, in the second column, A, B, and C, different customers are there. So at price 6, at this price, right? Now you have A demand, A, right? Then you have demand for B, you have demand for C, you have demand for D. Now these all are individual demand. Now to calculate for the market demand, you need to add them. So you are adding A, you are adding B, you are adding C, and you are adding D. And then you will come to market demand. So 4 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6 comes 19. So at price 6, individual demand of A is 4. At price 6, market demand for A, B, C, D customers is 19. So this is what how we calculate market demand. So with the summation of individual demands in quantity demanded by individual customer, we will achieve to have market demand. This is what at price 7. So from this demand schedule, you can also verify law of demand. When the prices, they are, increasing, let's say from 6 to 9, right? So prices are increasing in the downward manner. The quantity demanded is actually decreasing, you know. See, at price 9, right, the quantity demanded is 0 by a customer. At price 6, the quantity demanded is 4. So when the price is less, he was demanding more. When the price is more, he was demanding less. So law of demand also verifies from here. Now to understand more about it, right, let's go ahead and talk about the topic, that graphical representation of IDC and MDC. So here on the y-axis, that is the vertical line is y-axis, and the horizontal line is x-axis. So here on the y-axis, we denote price, and here on the x-axis, we denote quantity. So here, this is actually the bold line, the bold downward line is actually the market demand curve. And here, these four lines are basically the four curves that are here. They are known as individual demand curves. So with the summation of this, we obtain market demand curve. That is why there is a difference, difference of this gap between these graphs, with these curves. So ultimately, that is why we have downward sloping demand curve, and market demand curve we obtain when we add individual demand curves. Now, why does demand curve slope downward? Important. and interesting to understand. Why not it goes up, or it is vertical, or it is a stagnant line? So you need to think from that point of view. Now there are certain factors behind this. you need, Again, you have to think from rationale of law of demand. So first is that is law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility. Now what is it? Let's say I am very I am feeling very thirsty now. I have one sip of water. Oh, amazing. Better. I need one more. Fine. So, with the first sip that I consumed, it gave me maximum satisfaction if I compare my satisfaction among that three sips of water. Because, when you, as much as you consume, your utility starts decreasing. And when it starts decreasing, you will definitely not pay for it, right? If you want, let's say, more satisfaction, you pay more. You want you want to watch movie lonely, or in a very comfortable way, so you pay high. You buy a luxurious ticket for you. So when you're something like that, when you need little satisfaction, you start paying less, right? So that's why when the quantity demanded is more at a less price, it gives you less satisfaction. When there is a increase in the price, the quantity demanded is low, it gives you more satisfaction. So law of diminishing marginal utility says that as much as you consume, there is a decrease in your utility level. And in which quantity, measurement we measure utility in utils. After that, the substitution effect. So already we had discussed about substitute goods. So with the variation in the price of the substitute goods, the quantity demanded of the substitute good gets affected. So with this, let's say if there will be an increase in the price of tea, people will switch towards coffee. That means there will be increase in the demand for coffee. If I'm talking about income effect, so again, we have already studied it. When there is an increase in the income, right, then you consume more. But here in this income effect, I am talking about real income. Now what is real income? Suppose you have 100 rupees with you, and when earlier you went to market, you bought 80, you bought 10 items from that, right, with that 100 rupees. And after that, now today if you go to market, you bought 10 items again in 80 rupees. So ultimately that 100 minus 80, 20 rupees your real income, right? Earlier you were buying 10 items in 100 rupees, and now you are buying 10 items in 80 rupees. So that 20 rupees margin is basically your profit, or let's say your real income. In from that, you will buy more as you have saved. So you will buy more. So that addition of real income actually motivates you to consume more. So that means there will be an increase in the demand from your side. Now, if there will be new customers added in the market, that means there will be an increase in the demand. Suppose you bought something from one store, and then you called your friend and then you said that so and so thing I was bought from there. I bought from there, you also visit and you also buy. So what will happen? You also inform the A person, also inform B person, also inform. So in that store, there was a huge demand for the other goods. So with the arrival of new consumers, there would be more demand for the goods there. So that means definitely the price is less there. That's why you are going. Think about the discount, the time when there is a season sale going on. When you go to market, you see people buying things. Why? Because the price is less. So more number of people are there. Think about the, lifestyle stores when there's an end of season sale, it's full. Why? Because people are gathered there to buy the items because the price is less. So whenever there is a less price, there will be more quantity demanded, because with the arrival of new customers, they demand more. So with this, I hope that I have cleared you about the concept of demand, that it is not just, a mere wish or want. It is the combination of mere wish, want, but that means ability to pay and willingness to pay. So all these three words together make one word, that is demand. then what are the factors which actually determine demand? What is law of demand, right? And why does demand curve slope downward? So we have studied about these concepts in today's class. I hope you all will be able to understand about that, right? If there will be any other any other